I was like, oh my god, that
From the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest, you're watching Beyond the Blast Doors live.
Will Kylo Ren be redeemed in Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker? The Mandalorian, in our opinions, wins Star Wars Celebration. The Clone Wars is back and better than ever. Nick Stewart is back on the show after a year hiatus. And we got Marie Wilson with BeyondTheBlastDoors.com joining us in about 20 minutes on the show. This is the May the 4th Star Wars Celebration recap special extravaganza, whatever you want to call it. David, Nick, Jesse is here. Fellas, we are here after 2 weeks. This is our first chance to get together and talk about Star Wars Celebration after Star Wars Celebration. How are we doing?
Fantastic, David.
Jesse has been on a high. This man, listen, when he saw The Mandalorian, I don't know if you believe in a God, but that day you did because, my goodness, you were the happiest person in the world.
Oh, man. I left that panel smiling.
And sweating.
Yeah, and sweating.
Your armor reeked. You smelt and you were needy. It was fine.
No, it was just one of those things where somebody stopped to ask me what I saw, and I was like, I can't even begin to start. Like, it's like, that I was so excited about it.
Oh, you're so adorable. Hey, Nick Stewart, you've been gone for a year.
Yeah, not much has changed.
Not much has changed. Still in a relationship, still a working meteorologist, still very good looking. And here we are to talk about all the best new things that we know about as far as Star Wars is concerned. You pretty excited?
It's been an incredible year since I've been gone. I think the biggest thing is the last thing I remember talking about was how terrible of a movie Han Solo was going to be. And it wasn't terrible. I'm so happy I can deliver that news.
That was only May of last year. So yeah, we're getting better. We're catching up. It's going really well. Yeah, and Solo was actually a good time.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised.
So for those of you who this is your first time watching Beyond the Blast Doors, Nick was one of the guys that helped us start the show. Is Jesse, myself, Nick, and David. David is currently knees deep in a Pathfinder tournament. So he's not here. He chose Pathfinder over Star Wars, and I guess that's fine. We still, nonetheless, have a great show. Like I mentioned, Marie Wilson, who just joined the BTBD family, writing for us on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. She'll join us in about 20 minutes. So a couple of things that we want to get through real quick off the top of the show. First things first, we want to remember someone who is kind of integral to the Star Wars community, and that is Peter Mayhew. We unfortunately lost him this past week, and we want to leave his image up here for just a moment. I don't want to do a moment of silence because that just doesn't work well on a live stream, but what we can do, I think, just real quick, some nice words, and I just want to say I thought it was really cool that he still came to Star Wars Celebration, had no idea that his health was in the state that it was, and we were a stone's throw away from him, and he looked so happy. I can remember seeing a few fans walking up to him, and he was so joyous. So I think it's really cool that he could be surrounded by fans, and then to learn that he was able to pass with family and friends nearby. I feel like I got super loud just now. I'm like so loud.
Yeah.
But I am really excited to know that he was around those who loved him the most. So that was really cool. Do you have a favorite like memory in the movies or in life of Peter Mayhew, Jesse?
You just mentioned it. Like I think we were coming out of our photo op that we did with Daniel Logan.
Yes, sir.
And he was at his table. Now that first day celebration, it was actually a 5-day event this time, Thursday through Monday. That Thursday he had canceled due to health reasons and whatnot. But we saw him Friday, and as you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, he was happy to be around fans, and everything that I've seen tweeted about him the last couple days is he loved the fandom and everything. Oh, yeah. He really enjoyed his role as this character, and he just seemed like a really just positive, down-to-earth guy and everything. A friend of mine who had went to Celebration years ago had met him and described that exact personality to a team.
Very cool. Nick, you and I work in news professionally. Kind of a crazy news day when that information dropped. Can you tell me what you experienced?
I mean, just the week in general was kind of chaos, especially in the Midwest. You have a lot of, typically when you have these big name actors pass away, it's a lot of fanfare, a lot of stories get written about it. But we had so much breaking news that week where this kind of almost got hidden a little bit. You had the shooting on University of North Carolina, Charlotte campus. You had in the Midwest this crazy record flooding with levees breaking. So unfortunately, I mean, I didn't even know about it until about 2 days after it happened because I was covering all this crazy news. So
it's just it was really sad to learn, but again, happy he was with friends and family, and just thankful to Peter Mayhew for all of the joy that he's brought to millions. We tweeted it out. I think I said something like, rest easy. You brought joy to millions. Chewie, you're home. And I thought that kind of summed it up. I thought that if anything, the sequel trilogy has given us like a lot of sentimental moments, And so when Chewie and Han were on the Falcon for the first time, that's like the first moment that I thought of. Was like, hey, Chewie, we're home. So, thoughts and condolences to the family. And, today we're just going to celebrate May the 4th, and it's in the name of Peter Mayhew, and we're going to have some fun with it. Do want to mention of all the fun places you can find Beyond the Blast Doors. In case you're new or you're coming back the first time, just want to remind you, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. We're on Patreon. We're also obviously here on YouTube. Get all the latest. If you for some reason can't get to those places, you can find us on beyondtheblastdoors.com. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We have a lot to get to today. I also just want to remind you that, we're going to say a lot of outlandish things today. We're going to be loud and proud about it, but we'll always be respectful for it. So you're joining us maybe in the live moment. You're on the live chat, whether that's live on YouTube or live wherever. Be in that live chat. Be active. Say whatever you want to say as long as you're respectful. So have all your opinions. Just don't crap on anyone else for having their opinion. That's my big thing. And to remind you that this show is sponsored by the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri, proudly bringing, probably a sponsor of this show for the past half year, but proudly serving the St. Louis area since 1981. So happy to have them with us. Comics, books, board games, Magic the Gathering, everything and more. They are at the Fantasy Shop. That's the Fantasy Shop in St. Louis, Missouri. And Jordan, right now, our director, is laughing at me because I'm just jumping all over the rundown. I'm not following this plan at all. So let's go ahead and dive into the first topic, which is the Rise of Skywalker here on episode 63. I am so excited. We have this trailer. And we learned, obviously, we saw a lot of great things. There's the Rey backflip. There's the Kylo pummeling the dude with the back of the hilt. There's a great moment with Finn, obviously with Leia. You get the thing at the end with the Emperor cackling. To me, I'm going to talk about that for a moment because I think the Emperor's cackle proves some things wrong that we thought were right for a long time. But I want to talk to Nick first. Mm-hmm. You see that trailer post Star Wars Celebration. What are your thoughts, man? How does that make you feel? What's your favorite part?
The favorite thing about Star Wars trailers is they do a terrific job at showing nothing. And so I know nothing about the story still, but it makes me incredibly excited to watch it. The visuals are, of course, are always stunning for any Star Wars film. The audio, of course, looks great. The music is great. It's just, when you hear the laugh at the end, you kind of get chills. And that's how you know, like, this is gonna be good. I'm looking forward to this.
I'll just go ahead and say it now. The Emperor being involved in this trailer, teaser, whatever you want to call it, and then afterwards, where Kathleen Kennedy is talking to some people that are interviewing her. I'm pretty sure it was Steele Saunders, where she's like, "This has been the plans for the very beginning." To me, it gave me a lot more. Oh, okay, so maybe there really was a plan this whole time, because we've talked a lot, like ad nauseum, about how it never felt like there was a plan from 7 to 8 to 8 to 9, the changing of directors, not really knowing where the story was going. But if we knew the Emperor was involved since day one with the sequel trilogy, and we've been working with George Lucas to make sure this would fit right in his world, that brings me joy, because I've been very open about the fact that I wanted George's 7, 8, and 9, and then I wanted Disney to do whatever they wanted. Mm-hmm. I wanted that Lucas saga complete. As much as it's the Skywalker saga, it's the Lucas saga. So it brought me some joy to know that cackle has been a plan for years, or at least having that character in the movie. Jesse, when you think you have 2 weeks now to reflect on this teaser, what are you most anticipating in Rise of the Skywalker now that you've seen the footage?
First Order jet troopers.
That brought you some joy, didn't it?
Oh my gosh! Like, we've seen them. We've seen clone troopers with jetpacks, and then there was jet troopers, on like some of the video games, So just seeing that, I was like, oh man, this is going to be like an insane movie. I mean, just some of the action scenes were just over the top, and then of course with everybody else hearing that laugh at the very end. Yeah, and it was like my, like I've mentioned it. I was doing something with the Mandalorian Mercs at the time of the trailer drop, and we came in. And we're like, we missed something.
Well, I was actually watching it live. I was so happy I was able to watch it on live stream, unfortunately.
But I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, wow. And this is how we kicked off. Basically, I mean, Thursday was like opening day. And like Friday was like, I'd say more like the more official like first day. So
I had a grown man cry next to me, Jesse. Like, I did not know this dude. Yeah. He was there with his daughter. Actually, I take that back. Was not his daughter. I thought it was his daughter. I did clarify that. I was with a staff person who was having to keep the pathway clear for ADA accessibility. And she was having to like push back large men. Like, this guy had a churro and tried to hit her in the face with the churro to get around her I'm not making this up. This actually happened. This dude was trying to go around her and just use his size to get around this. And she held her own for 5'4" of woman. She just was like, no. And then she took the churro to the eye socket. But anyways, this guy was just like crying. I'm like, dude, your dad is crying. The girl was like, first off, don't call me a dude. I'm a girl. And then the girl was like, that's not my dad. I'm like, whoa, okay. So it was this like an emotional roller coaster in that room. And there, Nick, I'm trying to explain, like, there are thousands of people in this room. Like, you have an arena, the McCormick, like the arena at McCormick Center is full of like thousands of people. But then in the like the floor, like the convention floor, thousands more people.
Like an overflow room kind of thing. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it was bottlenecked. It was standing room only. And just when you saw all these shots, like Rey backflips there at the beginning, people lost it. Kylo Ren hits that with the saber, loses it. And then like they played that twice then, and then I think in the first day of Celebration, they must have played that teaser 40 times.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and then like by 1:30 in the afternoon, you already had someone up on YouTube being like 43 biggest Easter eggs in the Rise of Skywalker teaser, and it was just crazy. And so it was just like a lot of fun. Go ahead.
Can I tell you what actually one of my favorite moments of Friday was when we were standing in line for our photo with Daniel Logan, and the fans behind us hadn't seen the trailer. They had missed it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like we all like cuddled around your phone.
Yes.
Because I had missed it too and everything. So like it was just a really like fun moment because just everybody there, you had something in common. Your love for Star Wars. And not one person I talked to while there had anything negative to say.
Family's super sweet. Stephanie, I think, was the mom's name. She was super kind. Her and her husband had the two kiddos there. And the one boy, one of their boys was in a cardboard Boba Fett costume, and it was the cutest thing ever.
Well, it was like even like when I saw Avengers, no spoilers, don't worry. When I saw Avengers, it had the trailer before it. And even like in the movie theater, like what, a month or so after, I guess it's less than that, but like 2-3 weeks after it, everyone's still in the theater like, woo, like, here we go.
There's just so many great moments. And you know, like my favorite thing, so when we talk about like what's next, because like we've talked about what we liked in the trailer, but what I'm excited to learn going into December 20th when this thing drops in theaters, I want to know that we're on Endor. Like not the moon of Endor that we saw in Return of the Jedi. I want that Death Star 2, that's what we are assuming, that's the second Death Star. We want to believe that thing is on Endor. At least I want to. That we're going to go to Endor, actually see what that planet is like. I want to learn how this Death Star crashed in, change the atmosphere of this planet, change things around. There's not going to be Ewoks. There might be Ewoks. Maybe like they learn how to fly in 30 years. Ewoks can now fly off planet, whatever. But I just think that's going to be my favorite part of that movie is finding out what happens there. Like you get on Endor, you get to the Death Star remnants. Is the Emperor somehow like, is like the Death Star kind of like a Horcrux type of thing where his like soul is attached to the Death Star remnant, or maybe like there's a relic like a lightsaber or something, like Vader's lightsaber that's been tossed around there a lot. Like his lightsaber is what's keeping the Emperor alive, which to me that does make sense. That's Vader's lightsaber. Why would that be for the Emperor? I'm talking really fast because I'm really excited about all this stuff.
A lot of possibilities.
So much possibility. And that's just like a small part. Like if you look at the teasers, a lot of people have done some really great breakdowns, and I think the Resistance broadcast people have done a great job of doing that. You know, I say people, I mean James and John and Lacey. There's a couple other people who have really looked into that, and there's a lot of speculation that when we see Rey in her white in the forest and that scene where she's hugging Leia, it's believed that's at the very beginning of the movie, and so like they depart at the very beginning of the movie, and then they go off on this adventure that takes you on this 2.5-hour journey or whatnot. So really excited to find out what happens there. Because it's really important for me, in my experience, that when I walk out of Rise of Skywalker, that it's a satisfying conclusion to this 9-film journey, and obviously that's a goal. You know, there's no getting around it. It is the end of the Skywalker saga. JJ has said that. Kathleen Kennedy has said that. We've heard actors say that. Oscar Isaac, like. There was like confusion on the internet. Someone's like, well, who actually said it's the saga conclusion of the Skywalker story? Oscar Isaac went and talked to like everybody from like IGN to EW. He's like, it's ending. We're ending it. They're dead. We're done with the Skywalkers after this. So excited to see what happens out there. Marie Wilson did say on the live chat, talk about Marie Wilson joining us in about 15 minutes here on the show. I screamed when I heard the cackle. So much excitement over that one simple sound. Daniel's Hot Topics also says, he just wants to say happy May the 4th be with you. So we appreciate that. And John Boffman says that he's looking forward to that TIE fighter. Okay, the new TIE fighter that Kylo is flying. I still think it's a silencer, but I could be wrong. I still think it's a silencer. But we'll find out together December 20th. Is there anything else that we want to add about Rise of Skywalker? Okay, Jesse, all right, go ahead. What's going on, man?
No, I was just going to say another interesting thing is the photo ops for Ian McDiarmid. They weren't sold out with that, and then they sold out completely after that trailer dropped. So it was just kind of like a random actor that had selected, and we had the privilege of getting our picture with him.
So we find out on that Friday that Emperor is back, Nick, in Rise of Skywalker. So the next day is the Galaxy's Edge panel, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But it was kind of a letdown. The next panel, sorry, I had to fit that in there. The next panel was Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm sitting there. I'm on the floor. I've got a great seat. I'm ready to go. I get a text from, I think it was you, Jesse, and you're like, "Hey, just so you remember, we meet Ian McDiarmid in like 20 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh my!" So I'm talking with Bill Sheehy, who's a great guy. He worked with Star Wars Newsnet. We met him. He also has his own podcast, Sky Talking Through the League. I'm sorry, and I was like, "What do I do?" He's like, "Dude, you go meet Ian McDiarmid." So I'm like, "You're right." I run, and I just run through McCormick Center, and I meet up with these guys.
If you've never seen David run, let me tell you, it's a sight to see.
I have really short legs. I think that's the moral of the story there. Let's go ahead to the next topic of this show. We're cruising along here on our May the 4th Star Wars Celebration recap episode. It's a glorious time together, and we're talking about The Mandalorian. And this was pretty exciting just because obviously I've gotten to know Jesse through this show over the last couple of years. We're all obviously fans of new Star Wars content. We're not going to be unhappy about new Star Wars stories, but we've been hearing about this for a long time. And there's been a lot of anticipation knowing that Jon Favreau is at the helm of this product, because we know that you have like Dave Filoni making his live action directorial debut with this series. You have Bryce Dallas Howard. You have Taika Waititi. The list of directorial talent goes on. And then you get to the acting talent, and you just have like people like Pedro Pascal, who's okay, I guess, and Apollo Creed, which is all right, I guess. And like, I'm obviously being sarcastic. Like from top to bottom, this series has so much talent. And
it scares me. I hate that. I hate when they do that. That honestly scares me.
But the footage
you have too much anticipation, though.
Jesse, tell him though why the footage that we've seen. Tell him why you should take comfort in all this talent.
Okay, so you just listed a whole bunch of what I call I'm calling them the A team, simply because they're that good at what they do. So this panel starts. Kathleen comes out and she greets the fans, introduces John and Dave and everything, and she kind of takes her leave, and that's when the adventure begins, because they start telling us everything that went into like how this came to be, how John pitched this idea. And it was almost like an immediate yes and everything. So, and then of course they bring out three of the main characters: Carl Weathers, Pedro Pascal, and Gina. I can't say her last name. Carano. Thank you. And the crowd's just screaming for these actors and everything. And then I think the coolest moment was Carl Weathers doing his Apollo Creed line, "I want you," and everything. And it was like so much joy just coming from these actors. They were so excited and everything. And then they started talking about the practical props and how this guy's down in his basement making this. You can find all this stuff on YouTube, like the panel and everything. But then we got that sneak peek, and the first words out of David's mouth is, "You lucky bee," So it was just like, and I left that panel, and I was just speechless for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the first thing I did was they gave us an exclusive poster, and some vendor was smart enough to set up shop right outside. So I bought a protective sleeve for it, and I hung on to that thing like it was my baby for the rest of the day. But everything we saw, being a cosplayer and learning so much more about practical props and everything, you're sitting there picking everything out, and you're going, "Oh my gosh!" Like the amount of money and time.
Oh my damn!
Just that's going into this is just, even I'm still having trouble finding words for it. Like, I'm not worried about what's going to happen to Star Wars with the Skywalker saga ending, because this is where the fun begins. Like, honestly, so
here's my thing.
Oh boy!
If you take the visuals of Game of Thrones,
yes,
like we're saying that's the standard of television in this day and age because of what HBO has been able to do with Game of Thrones. Okay, but now you put but it's Jon Favreau like calling the shots, and Dave Filoni, who has he is the heir apparent to George Lucas. Okay, so that's the combo. Okay, visually, the footage that we saw of the Mandalorian at Star Wars Celebration is by far the coolest looking Star Wars I've seen in the last decade, and that's no slam on anything else. Like the color, like it's like this like bluish type of thing, and it all looks cool.
I'm curious what they're shooting with. It looks different. Like it almost kind of looks like that jump if you're shooting television, you shoot ENG versus DSLR. Like there's a noticeable difference in color and quality, and I'm just kind of curious if they're shooting with something different just because it's like a series as opposed to a movie. You're kind of can move away from the cinema and kind of move towards kind of I don't want to say daily, but a more serious kind of longer format because you have longer duration. I'm just really fascinated by it. It just looks very pretty.
I can tell you I have absolutely no idea what they're shooting with, but I thought the coolest story from behind the scenes that they shared was the fact that they needed more stormtroopers on set, and they enlisted 501st volunteers.
You gotta love that.
And they were talking.
That's awesome.
And they were like, think about this. Like, if you're okay, Jesse's a cosplayer. So, like, guys, think about this. Like, you do this, and then you get a call one day saying, "Hey, we need you for a special project with Lucasfilm." And they were like, they just thought it was like a parade or something. So they had like 50 or 60 stormtroopers show up. They said, and then they find out they're going to be in the movie. And Dave Filoni made the comment. He goes, "You couldn't tell the difference between the actors on set and the cosplayers because they knew exactly how to behave, walk, move their head, hold their gun the right way." And it was just so cool hearing that because that's what you can do with Star Wars. Like when we talk about that community, that fandom, how is Star Wars different than any other franchise? It's Star Wars Celebration. It's the cosplayers. It's like it's to the level that the fandom takes itself is just incredible. And like the fact that is going to live on in that series forever is going to be pretty dope.
Well, and this is the thing is, let's face it, every single Star Wars fan, there is something from the movies they wish they could own, like off the set. And, and like they said it in the panel, like all these guys now have, screen used, stormtrooper costumes.
Which is that a big deal?
That's a big deal because like a lot of the, I don't know if you saw it, they had a live auction area on the floor.
Okay, yeah.
They had a number of props and they had an original helmet from the movies. I mean, like I didn't see the starting bid price on it, but they had Ewan McGregor's lightsaber hilt from the prequels. Starting bid on that was $200,000.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
Okay, so with that being said, though, I mean, it's just like, the 501st CRLs, I mean, screen accurate. I mean, you can't join that club unless it's 100% accurate. You have to walk off a movie screen with it. So it's no wonder that they called them like, well, hey, we need more screen accurate stormtroopers.
Gotta call the 501st because they have certain standards they have to meet with their gear before they can be allowed in.
And the Mandalorian mercs are the same way. We have a little bit more,
Regalia.
I'm a prospective merc coming, hopefully by the end of the summer, by the way.
You'll graduate.
Yeah, but it's the same expectation and everything. And then, with this show, there are more than. It's not just Pedro on there.
Right.
It's been discovered, so.
It's crazy, though, when the scene that we saw of The Mandalorian, it's like 80 stormtroopers on set. I mean, the scale of everything. We're so used to, like, the original trilogy, I think, of sometimes where it's like 5 or 6 stormtroopers because that's all they could have on the shot. Then you got the CGI stuff in the prequels with all the clones. These are 80 real humans on set.
That's what I really liked about Rogue One is that it was this larger scale, high energy, like it was a true action movie. And I think that's what this is going to be. Like one thing that I loved about Solo was that it was kind of like this wild, wild west kind of feeling. And the setting of this movie, after
this is that
as the New Republic's trying to get going. What better place than the Wild Wild West?
This is Wild West.
You read Aftermath, the Aftermath trilogy, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, that takes place right after Return of the Jedi. The Republic's putting bounties on, Imperials and everything. So, that screen, I mean, that has been up, for weeks, but when he walks into that room and you've got, like, this pompous, like, Imperial officer and, like, these, like, stormtroopers that you can tell have seen better days.
And how does it work? It's like Werner Herzog plays the guy that enlists Carl Weathers to find a bounty hunter to track down this thing for the Empire, right? And so then Carl Weathers goes out and hires Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian.
Pretty much, yeah. And this is like, you get some new terms and everything. Apparently there's like bounty information that are stored in something that's called their nickname pucks, like a hockey puck. And he's like, no, this is like a face-to-face meeting kind of thing.
Is that copyrighted?
I don't think so.
Okay, I hope so. But, I hope we don't need a claim. That's the last thing I want today is a claim.
No, but like for that moment though, when he walks in that door that blast door slides open
Yeah.
to the stormtroopers,
Mm-hmm.
chills, immediate chills, because it's just like knowing the time frame that they set this up for. It was like, oh man, this could get really bad really quick, like bad in a good way kind of thing.
And
but-
Jesse mentioned it earlier, the practical effects and just like the confined spaces, they're able to do these incredible things. Like they were talking about how they did like a flight path for a ship and all the different takes they had to do and how they integrate graphics with that, like the space behind it. Really fascinating stuff.
Yep.
You can find that on YouTube. I know that that panel was streamed live and saved on the official Star Wars YouTube account. So go ahead and check that out. I do want to clarify one thing. I mentioned it earlier. Bill Sheehy does Skywalking Through the League, which is a podcast that combines like sports and Star Wars. So I think I corrected myself early in the show, and I corrected myself to the wrong show. I said the right show first. If you were able to follow that, good on you. Just really excited for it. And again, like we talk about how Star Wars feels like a world that's been lived in. You definitely have texture in this series. You just know that they're in like they're on a real set that feels like it's a real world. And I'm really excited to go to these different places. And you know, I love how Dave Filoni told stories through Clone Wars. And so the fact that he gets to do this first episode, it drops November 12th.
Yes, November 12th
on Disney Plus. And they're not releasing it all at once, which I'm a fan of. Some people are really griping about this. They really wanted the entire season dropped at one time.
No, I want it one at a time.
Make it last. Let us get an episode.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you don't want to give us an episode, like give us an episode once a month. Give me some time to really speculate and get excited and like be antsy for it. Make that, if it's 12 episodes, make it a whole year event.
Make a
I don't care.
podcast like this worth being here so we can speculate.
Yeah, keep us around.
Don't
Really.
don't give me an idea.
We are really excited for that show, and I want to go ahead and we're going to transition now into our third topic of the show, so we can get to Marie Wilson. We won't spend a whole lot of time on Galaxy's Edge, because honestly, this panel was a bit of a letdown for me. But you know what? I say that, and I want to make something pretty well articulated. I want to say I didn't enjoy this panel so much because of the great reporting done by like StarWarsNewsNet.com, Making Star Wars. You have Fantatrax. These are fan websites that dig, have reliable sources, and report these things. We didn't learn anything new in this Galaxy's Edge panel because of their reporting until they brought Coca-Cola representatives out and were like, hey, so we're really excited to share that in the park, you're able to drink Coca-Cola. And then I was like, wait, what?
With a bounty hunting puck as a cap.
Right. So basically the bottles look like thermal detonators. And I'm getting a phone call. That's a robocall. Anyways, so we're gonna get Coca-Cola, Sprite, and Diet Coke, I think, in like what look like thermal detonator containers.
Which is pretty awesome.
But they had this hour panel, like they look cool, and every panel they were giving away free things. So we thought we were gonna get like one of the drinks in that bottle, which would have been sweet. We got a red Coca-Cola T-shirt that I didn't get because the guy wouldn't give me the free voucher thing. But that was like the news of that panel, and it was a real letdown. But like I said, it's a credit to everyone who's been reporting because we've seen footage already of these rides, and then we've known certain elements of this park. For example, it's an immersive world. The story that you experience at the theme park is a part of the canonical timeline. You have a role to play in that story. But we did get a little bit more like on the lightsaber shop. We're gonna be able to build our own like premier quality saber hilt. This isn't like a $20 foam thing you can buy at the store. You're gonna be able to build your own, Nick.
Right. I mean, which I think is kind of cool. I think one of the coolest things in downtown Disney, if you've ever been there, is they have like that one Star Wars shop where you can build your own lightsaber. It's a little bit more intricate than the ones you can just kind of buy at a store where you kind of can customize it a little bit. But this looks like legitimate. Like that's kind of exciting. And I think just this gives people kind of at least the ability to kind of go right into these kind of things.
You know, Nick, you and I are gainfully, and Jesse, so are you. We are all employed, and Jordan is too. I don't know why I said it like some of us weren't employed, but they are hiring right now for Galaxy's Edge. I think both in California and Florida. Jesse does have a scheme where he wants to be, he wants to live there. He wants to leave.
Just merge in.
He wants to leave the tri-state region, and he wants to go move to Galaxy's Edge. I think this is your best shot. But you could actually become I don't know what they're calling them technically. I think just like lightsaber shopkeepers. But you could be the guy that helps kids build them.
What's like the blacksmith equivalent, like in the far away?
I think they have blacksmiths in Star Wars.
Tech.
Would that fall in their field? You know?
Yeah, I'm fine with
All
you
right.
calling them that. But you could be that. You could help people build their sabers. Like I'm excited. They're saying it's probably going to be like $150 to $200.
Yeah,
Which is
but
a
these are
little
like,
steep,
but these are fighting grade
It's
lightsabers.
still cool.
Like it's like Saberforge level of stuff.
Ned, on the exhibit hall, Ned, did you stop by their area?
I stopped by Galaxy's Edge because you could record a 30-second video with like how you fell in love with Star Wars, and then they would take that message from everybody and put that in a holocron, and they're actually keeping that at both parks.
Cool.
So I did that, but I didn't see the lightsaber.
Okay, so like I actually took time to go. They had some of the product there.
Okay, brag about it some more. Tell us about it, Christ.
No, so I mean, this is all credited to all those other great shows and sources that David listed. So yes, we didn't really get anything new, but actually getting to see some of these things up close.
Yeah.
You're going, wow, this actually looks like some quality stuff. They had, some of the lightsaber samples, and I'm like, yeah, it's like shut up and take my money kind of thing.
Oh boy.
Because it was that good. I mean, like the holocron thing that they had on display was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can put your crystal from your lightsaber in there, and it's got like pre-recorded, like the crystals have like pre-recorded things from like Yoda or different characters. Like one of them is like Obi-Wan's thing from the Rebels, like telling you to stay away from the Jedi Temple and stuff like that.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you like role play?
Like in these situations, like in the Star Wars, like
Yeah,
part?
yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah, this is a family show.
No, I'm just wanting to clarify. Never mind.
Your safe word it is.
Oh.
Okay, this went all to new lows.
Or
New height. Well, so you can actually go to the theme park and you can actually buy like Jedi robes.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Then you have the blacksmith who's making the sabers.
Yeah.
You have the tailors making the robes. So it's like it's like a full economy going on.
I could see you being the tailor.
I think that's where I would excel.
I can see like you have good style. Like I can see it happening.
My only complaint is
Oh, no.
Disney's rules
Yeah.
state that adults can't wear costumes. So how do you expect me to buy this costume, be really excited about it, and not be able to wear it while I'm at the park?
I thought you could wear it at the park. I thought that was the whole point. You can't wear it at the park?
No.
They have the photo where they have like the family of four, like dad's dressed as Kylo and mom's Rey and the kids Poe.
What I've been hearing is that rule still stands, that you can't, because it's confusing to the kids on who's an actual park employee, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that's
which I understand, but it's just like being a Star Wars nerd and enthusiast, I kind of want to roam around
because that kind of ruins the immersiveness of the whole thing.
Well, like all the ride attendants and like the janitor, like everybody who works there is going to be in costume.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of funny. Like even the producer of the Star Wars show was dressed up as an Imperial for the live stage at Celebration.
Oh, that's great.
So like it's pretty consistent with how Star Wars is like if you're there, you're like it looks the part. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed that you can't be there, but also like I'm not surprised that there's like some stipulations, especially with the lightsabers, because like can you imagine a bunch of kids with lightsabers? They're going to be running around smacking each other. Like there's going to be a lot of bruised ankles in the Galaxy's Edge world.
Well, the one thing that we'd heard about the lightsabers early on, but apparently you get a really nice storage case for it too.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's just like yes, it's like 100, like starting 150, like and everything, but like you're getting a lot of great things. I mean, I dropped 250 on my Saberforge saber, okay, and that was just for the saber. But I mean, getting this, heck yeah.
And by the way, in case anyone's like wondering if they're watching the live show on YouTube, by the way, we stream usually every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Central. Today we're doing it on Saturday because it's May the 4th to coincide. It seemed to make sense. But I'm standing here. I'm on the live chat. I'm trying to communicate with everybody. So if you're like, why is David standing? Why is he awkwardly typing? Why is he not making eye contact with anybody? Now you know. But what I'm most excited for is Gold Squad Lager. They're gonna have beer, and all the drinks are like Star Wars themed. And I want to know what Gold Squadron Lager tastes like. I'm thinking it's like a Mick Ultra, the Mick Ultra of the galaxy.
It's probably just like Miller Lite, and it's just.
Oh god, that vomit sound was probably really loud in everybody's ears.
I'm still holding out for the Manatee refreshment dispenser.
Oh no, he wants that stupid thing from The Last Jedi with the 4 breasts to like give him green milk. But we do know that we're gonna get green and blue milk in the park.
Like milkshakes. They're like actual like colored milkshakes.
He's gross. He's like, I'm gonna put my mouth up to the nozzle just like Luke did in the movie. I'm like, he didn't. He sprayed it into a bottle because they have bottles in Star Wars. No, but so that's what happened with Galaxy's Edge. I am excited to go there. They just had the reservations open. Now that's over with. Know a guy who has full reservations in the first year. But I think we were all of the mentality we don't have money to go yet. So
I think we're gonna wait.
Go to Florida though, because they also have that immersive hotel that you can stay at, and so that seems like a really good complement to your experience at the theme park. So just really excited. But
you can watch a SpaceX launch and go to Kennedy Space Center. Florida's a magical place. the best place.
Yeah, I think we discussed like kind of skipping the first year, that kind of let them kind of smooth it out.
That's the biggest
and
thing
everything.
too. It's like it's such a huge thing.
But it's definitely on the bucket list. You have to go.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to Disney since 5th grade, and that was when Animal Kingdom opened up, and that was an amazing experience in itself. So I'm excited to see this in person.
I've never actually been to Disney.
Wow.
Ever.
Well, I'm gonna take your Disney B card in 2021 when we go to Star Wars.
I might as well, if we're gonna
Galaxy's
go
Edge.
at some point. That's when it's gonna.
That's when we're doing it. But I got to take care of some other personal matters before I go on another bros trip to a Star Wars event. So stand by. So that is our Galaxy's Edge talk. We still need to talk Clone Wars Season 7. We still need to talk Jedi Fallen Order, Respawn's gift to all mankind. And then if we have some time to answer some questions in the live chat, great. But first, we're going to stand by. Quick 20-second commercial break. I need to stretch my legs and maybe get a drink. And then we'll be joined with Marie Wilson of BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. You're listening to Beyond the Blast Doors Live. It's May the 4th. We'll be right back. So that's fun. The promo wasn't there. We're not sure where the promo went.
Uh-oh.
It was supposed to tell you about the show pins on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com.
Maybe Space Whales took it to.
But, when you start a show 25 minutes late, I don't think you can be surprised when a promo doesn't play in the right slot. But you know what? Right now, we are joined with Marie Wilson of BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. I guess we can say that, Marie, right? Like, you're with BeyondTheBlastDoors.com.
Yeah.
Welcome. How are you doing today, Marie?
Absolutely. I'm great. Doing awesome.
Marie joined us within the last week, and it was kind of like a spontaneous conversation we had. I was just like, listen, like, I've been following your stuff for about a year now on Twitter. I think you're really cool. Do you have time to join us and maybe help us out and kind of get our website going? And she's like, yeah, I think I can give you something. I'm like, so like, what do you think? Like once a month, once every couple of months? She's like, I can do like once a week. I'm like, okay, do you want to be friends too? And that's when I didn't get a response. So I guess I escalated too quickly. But Marie, it is so good to have you here with us. Don't have a whole lot of time, but let's just kind of, if you can give us a brief, explanation of your role in the fandom. What do you have a blog that you've taken care of for years, and you're very active at cons doing panels. So kind of give us a breakdown of what you do in the Star Wars world.
So I have a blog called The Star Wars Review, which I have been working on for the past 2 years now. Ever since Dragon Con Trivia, my first Dragon Con Trivia top 10 finalist happening. So that was sort of what spurred me into doing that. And then I have been going to cons and doing panels. Can't think. I'm doing panels, and I did a couple panels on LGBTQ Star Wars characters and species, and I've done a trivia contest, and I've done a couple panels on Star Wars canon connections.
So clearly Marie is very knowledgeable and very involved, and while she talks diversity in Star Wars, her interest in Star Wars itself is diverse. So we're just really glad that you're part of this, and of course, working with us now on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Your debut article this past week was the 5 best places for you to start reading to expand your knowledge of A New Hope. It was titled a lot more concisely than what I just rattled off. But, can you walk us through, there isn't a lot of New Hope canon, but there's enough for you to get confused. And so you set out this kind of how-to guide to tackle this era. Can you explain the fun that you had writing that list? Was it challenging? Was it fun? Did you hate it? Did you hate your debut article? I can't think you did.
No, I had a great time. I was prepared because of the panels I've done on canon connections. So I keep track. I read all the canon, everything from children's books to reference books to adult books. And so I keep track of all that. And writing this was just what from A New Hope, what canon literature about A New Hope adds to the story and gives you more details that really flesh everything out and bring it more fully to life.
Marie, Nick is someone that was with the show at the very beginning, and he's been away. We brought him back. We've explained that a few times on the show already. But he is someone that really likes the movies, but he doesn't really explore the books or the comics. You're talking to Nick. Nick, say hi.
Hi.
Tell Nick why he needs to explore the universe beyond the movie of A New Hope.
Well, there is so much backstory to be had for the different characters to start. The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy goes into great detail about that on Han, Luke, and Leia. And then you've got From a Certain Point of View with 40 short stories about previously undisclosed and minor characters. And it just makes the movie so much more powerful.
I think that reading your list was really fun because it's not just like I thought you'd do From a Certain Point of View, but she talks about the 40th anniversary canon novel of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She got into comic books. And by the way, kudos to you. We tweeted out her article and tagged the writers of the books and comics that she selected. Kevin Scott, who's part of this Project Luminous that we have no idea it is about. He retweeted it and said thank you. So kudos to you because you got Kevin Scott's attention. But she kind of goes through not just the main comics, but she picked up on I know that the Grand Moff Tarkin, the Star Wars Age of Rebellion comic was on there. The Han and Chewie Star Wars Adventures was on there. So her analysis it runs deep, not just in the books that she includes, but she doesn't just take the top layer of canon books that you can read. She really dug in deep. And I guess before we ask the final question, is there anything that you guys are curious to ask Marie while we have Marie here? Or do we need to dive into what's next with Marie?
I've got a question for you, Marie. Out of the 40 stories we got out of A Certain Point of View, which one was your favorite?
Oh, good question.
Probably of MSC 6 and Men.
Okay.
Because it was hysterical and it was an example of LGBTQ characters in Star Wars.
And which is obviously something that's really important to you personally, right?
Yes.
It's very cool to see how I'm talking with a lot of friends now who feel like more parts of themselves are reflected in the Star Wars story, which I think is super cool. And that's another reason why I'm so glad that Marie is with us because there's so much representation and respect that she has for so many different parts of the Star Wars community. And I just think that you're someone that's really able to articulate those things very well, where others struggle, you do so well at. So, Marie, before we let you go, can you just tell us what's next? What's in store for us this week on Beyond the Blast Doors with, I don't know, what do you want to say, from your keyboard?
This week, I'm going to be doing a canon reader's guide to Count Dooku.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
So we've got a couple of brand new things that just came out, and then there's some comic books that came out last year that delve into Count Dooku.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm on chapter 21, Marie. I did what you did. I got the Audible free trial, and I've been tearing through that thing. I'm really excited to get your take on that. It's an incredible experience. The first audiobook only release from Del Rey Star Wars. So it's really funny. It feels like radio theater. I mean, it is really fun. They had the Star Wars, the John Williams score underneath and the sound effects. Every time a lightsaber ignites, it's just oh, and you're it's so great in your ear.
Yeah.
So really excited, and we'll be able to find that 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, that's Central Time, on Beyond the Blast Doors, right, Marie?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, Marie, before we let you go, let us know, where can we find you on social media?
I am at Alia Morgaine on Twitter, and M. Elizabeth Wilson on Instagram, but my Instagram is mostly things that I knit and crochet.
Awesome. I love it.
You know, what I really do appreciate is that intimate amount that you allow us into your life. That's really great. I don't knit, but I respect the art. So, Marie, thank you so much. We are truly, all joking aside, so glad you're with us with Beyond the Blast Doors. And it's pretty cool that we get to end this interview by saying that was BeyondTheBlastDoors.com's Marie Wilson, our chief editor on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Look at that. You come on the show, you get a brand new title. Marie, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you guys.
That was Marie Wilson. So glad that she was able to join us today for the episode, and just so great to have like a real conversation with her. That was the first time that we've talked with Marie. It's been over Twitter the last year, and so to have that conversation, wish David could have been here to share that, because I know he would have gotten a real thrill out of that. But that's okay. Next time we'll bring her on, and he'll be here, and he'll have to find his own path, right? So be sure you check out her article already if you haven't on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Let's rip through these last two topics. We got to get out of here. We got to fire up a barbecue pit. We've got Clone Wars season 7 is back, and we're really excited about it. I'm most excited because Ahsoka Tano has 2 blue lightsabers in hand.
I like the green.
Oh, from the previous seasons, yeah.
I mean, I'm not like that's not like bringing me down at all. I'm just saying I like the green.
I think, Jesse, was your favorite part when you found out that the 501st actually has like helmets decorated like Ahsoka Tano's face, like out of respect?
Yeah, so like Ahsoka's got like tribal tattoos for like her species do these body markings and everything, or makeup, and so that was actually kind of a really powerful moment that they hit us with at the panel, was kind of explaining the clone trooper helmet with these orange markings on it.
Yeah.
And that was really great. And you mentioned the blue lightsabers. I think there's actually going to be a little bit of conflict from that.
I think people are really confused because they're like, I thought she had white lightsabers. That's like, that's Star Wars Rebels. This is Clone Wars. This is like decades before
all that happened.
Yeah. Well, it's actually like a decade and a half, right? Something like that. 20 years, something like that. So like, there's like, no, not that much.
Well,
19.
Again, this is going to be really exciting because we had the Ahsoka novel. What was it, last year or the year before, which was a really great read. If you haven't read it, read it. You're definitely going to want to read that before you watch or after this final season, because in that book it alludes to some of the events that we're probably going to see in this season. So it's, man, I don't even know where to begin. Everything we saw over that weekend, and specifically that panel, is just nuts.
Just the storytelling in Clone Wars has always been one of my favorite things. I think Clone Wars, even though it's animated, I guess with animated you get more abilities to do these grand things because you don't have to pay all these actors to stand there and do things. So I love animated anyway, because I think it's just such a great way of storytelling. And Clone Wars, when it first came out, was just a whole new idea of telling Star Wars, and they did such a good job with it. I hated that it was canceled, so I'm so glad we're getting a nice ending to all of the chaos.
And you're bringing all those original cast members back, and you're bringing Dave Filoni back. So there's no concern of, oh man, this is gonna be like Diet Coke Clone Wars, because that last season of Clone Wars, those last episodes, that was intense Star Wars storytelling. Yeah. You were dealing with dark Sith magic. You were dealing with a lot of war. You were dealing with the whole like whatever the chip implant, the biochip that was in the clones, like that, and that's what executed Order 66. So like you were dealing with like a lot of dark stuff in Star Wars, and so it looks like we're gonna get that here in season 7, especially with the Mandalorian Wars looking like it's such a factor. Coolest part about this season, though, knowing that Ray Park is involved. They did mocap with Ray Park. He's going to be doing the choreography for Darth Maul. Well, Maul now in the Clone Wars. So that's pretty cool. We learned that. Obviously, Sam Witwer will be the voice, but Ray Park is back doing the choreography for that battle with Ahsoka Tano that we see in the trailer. I believe that is the battle that is referenced at the beginning of E.K. Johnson's Ahsoka novel, the Young Raiders novel. There's even a line where in the book, Maul says something like, "You're not supposed to be here." You hear Sam Witwer's Maul say that in the trailer, and like for me, I just lost it. Like I was so happy, and because it was like that series that took me through like the end of high school into college, and just really excited to see what they do with this last series. We don't know how many episodes specifically. We don't know how long the episodes are.
12, right?
Is it 12? Well, I think that's how many are in the Mandalorian. But we also don't know, was it confirmed November 12th as well for the Clone Wars to drop then too?
I want to say...
Because someone was telling me that they thought it didn't come out until 2020, and I tried looking it up, and both came up. Some were saying it dropped when Disney Plus became available, and then some were saying it doesn't drop till 2020. So if you know, you're in the live chat, let us know. If not, you can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email us, beyondtheblastdoors.com. Let us know if you know that specifically. I'm going to check the live chat. Maybe someone knows there. Bait the Snake saying he misses Rebels. Well, so do I, but they conclude that story the way they wanted to.
Yeah, I thought it was a good ending.
I want to conclude Clone Wars the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's what, and we have had some Star Wars, like we have Dark Disciples, the novels behind me. That was like an Asajj Ventress story. We actually get some prequel Asajj Ventress stuff in this Dooku Lost Jedi audiobook. It's gold. So just really excited how they wrap this up, and again, how Dave Filoni wanted to wrap it up. Like he's still able to do that, which is super cool.
I think one of the interesting things is after we have Rebels that comes after this, so we know a lot of the characters survive, I guess. Like, Rex is obviously he's good, and Ahsoka's good. I mean, a lot of these main characters survive through the end of the series, which I think is kind of a bit of a letdown, because you kind of know that whatever happens, they're at least alive in this universe still, but just how they get to these new points, I think, is kind of what I'm really looking to see.
David and I always talk about how we want to see more lightsabers, more space battles of that in Star Wars. We haven't gotten a lot of that in the movies. Well, I think you're going to get a lot of that here in Clone Wars, so it's going to be pretty spectacular. Let us know either in the live stream or the chat down below if you're watching the rewind, whether that's on podcast form or on YouTube. Let us know what excites you the most about Star Wars Clone Wars. But I think that was the big news from Celebration, was the fact that Ray Park was back to be the mocap for the dueling.
Well, and all the voice actors, they all shared getting that phone call.
Apparently Bradley D. Baker broke protocol and was texting Ashley Eckstein about it,
in code,
and got her so that's how she found out, and that was really cool. And again, that panel is on, I believe, YouTube. On the official Star Wars account. So Clone Wars is back. Season 7 debuts at some point on Disney Plus. We'll be obsessing over it and binging it like crazy. Last topic here on our May the 4th Star Wars Celebration recap show, because I got to get charcoal on the grill, folks. I got to get this going. I've got a girlfriend looking at me with a cat in her hands. I'm getting the message loud and clear. Jedi Fallen Order is the video game here. EA. I'm checking the phone because it's our friend Rich Kane is hey, I'm over here to have some beer and brats. Let's go. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is going to drop here, and we're going to actually get a trailer, the official trailer in November. We've just found that out. But this is the video game that we've been craving for years. And this is going to be Respawn's baby. Respawn is in charge of it. EA has apparently nothing to do with it. They've been very bold. They've been pronouncing that quite a bit. Although, I'm excited for it, but some people seem PO'd because it's stealing the 1313 engine or something. I don't understand the controversy here. Apparently, the whole gimmick of him running on the wall in the trailer is something that was supposed to be from 1313 or another video game. But I don't want to deal with the negativity. Let's just talk about this. Nick, tell me, you see this video game, you don't really play So you'd play this game, right?
Yeah, I would. It's Respawn was an interesting choice because Respawn is known for a lot of big multiplayer games. Most recently, Apex Legends.
Okay.
And so going into a single player focused game, I think is just so different from them. However, one of the main writers for Respawn was the writing head for Mafia 3. And that game was not good. But, hold on. But the storyline was phenomenal.
Really?
I think the story in Mafia 3 was really good. Okay. And that was one of its strongest points. And so that's why I feel real confident about him going to Respawn when he did. I think it's in 2014, I think is when that all happened. So that I'm super stoked for the story. I think the story at least should be good. I'm curious to see what Respawn's going to do with a single-player focused game because, like I said, Titanfall is another one.
Yeah.
Completely multiplayer focused. It's just fascinating to see what they're going to do with this.
So we do know that we're playing as a Jedi who escapes Order 66 and is going around the galaxy. I think the Second Night Sister. It was a character that was created in Charles Soule's Darth Vader run with Giuseppe Camuncoli. We learn all of this at Star Wars Celebration. Jesse, we've had gripes with Battlefront 1. We have gripes with Battlefront 2 despite an incredible campaign story. We just wish that campaign would have been longer. But when you're reading more about Respawn's Jedi Fallen Order and you're knowing that you're going to play this premise, where's your excitement level what right now? What should we be focusing on about this video game right now? What's the focus?
Okay, you already mentioned I've seen all the negativity. I've seen all this. That was the downside of coming back from Celebration is the toxic portion.
Because that wasn't at Celebration.
Yeah, that wasn't there. And then that's what I want to stress is that thousands of people in one place. Everybody loved this.
Everyone was
loved it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Easter eggs in this too. It seems to be Zarlak teeth in the background.
I didn't know that.
Everybody's always been wondering what they've been doing with the old Clone Wars Venerator ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're disassembling those.
Oh yeah, we did learn that, didn't we?
Yeah. So that's been a big question, how come the Rebels don't have any of these?
And I wonder if there's anything from 1313 really being used. I mean, I know I mentioned the whole running on the wall thing, but they're going there in this game. They're going to the underworld.
And, Nick mentioned some of the the development aspects. I can't remember what her name is, but she's worked on the Uncharted series and everything. I'm a big fan of the Uncharted games. They're a lot of fun, very action like games. I don't care if they use the same engine. If the story is there and you're selling me this great story, I'm totally down for it. In particular, though, the main character, unfortunately, I'm drawing a blank if they announced the character's name, but the actor, they use this actor in his voice in likeness, Cameron Monogram. I probably butchered that last name. You might know him from Gotham's TV series.
He plays the Joker.
He plays the Joker.
Well, yeah,
or Jerome.
Yeah, I think it is the Joker now. Yeah.
So I was really impressed with his role in that TV show, and I think he is going to do a phenomenal job of telling us a story of a young Jedi that escaped Order 66 and is on the run.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's a game that we're going to follow. Really looking forward to that trailer that we get in November. Should be really exciting to see.
I'm
just
hoping
more.
we get something at E3. I mean, E3. I know we're not, but like you gotta think.
Or D23 with something like that. I guess not really, because that's really just movies.
E3 is probably
the best chance.
Probably
right?
your best chance because that's the next biggest video game.
Although the
convention.
No, never mind. That was DICE, because DICE did the other Star Wars games, but they're in German.
Don't talk about DICE or EA. Don't do it.
They did well.
You'll set people
not
off.
with Battlefield.
I'm just kidding.
This is the thing is, EA is kind of the money bank on this and everything.
It's Respawn's baby, though.
Yeah, so they kind of let Respawn do their thing, and I can't wait for this. I believe this game comes out November 20th. So we get hit with The Mandalorian and possibly the Clone Wars series around the same time. And then we're getting hit with a game. So this holiday season is just going to be just insane because you get done with that and you've got episode 9 coming too.
I think the sad state of affairs with the current video game field that we have right now is that one of the features of this game is like no microtransactions, because that's one of EA's biggest thing. The fact you
people
have to
applauded at Star Wars Celebration.
The fact you have to celebrate that is so sad. Like that should be a given. Anyway, I'm glad they're not.
The
but
guy came
still,
out on the live stage and he's like, "No microtransactions," and everybody just cheered. It was a beautiful moment. So
sad that that's the state of gaming right now.
Definitely excited for the game.
Turning it around for sure. And hey, that was a packed hour, guys. That was a real thrill, and I just want to say I hope that you had fun. I think we all had a blast on this episode, just kind of recapping the 5 biggest headlines from Star Wars Celebration, obviously being able to talk with Marie. There's a lot more that we need to unpack. We can do that in following weeks. There's a lot of news that broke this week that we're just going to save for next week. Maybe do it a bonus episode. We haven't decided yet, but at the very least, just to be able to share this time together, and our fun's not over. We're going to be grilling. Maybe we'll share some of those photos if they're appropriate on the Twitter account. But from all of us here from the Beyond the Blast Doors studio, we just want to say thank you. We hope you're having a happy May the 4th, and if you're celebrating May the 4th, as you should be, thanks for including us in your celebration. That's pretty cool. But share with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram how you're celebrating this May the 4th holiday. We'll do the same, and we'll do. Oh, did you find Ayla Sakura?
If you watch the show from the beginning, you know this was always in my area somewhere, so I got it back.
Well, Nick, we're glad that you got to join us too. Hope you come back soon.
I'll be back.
All right, that's going to do it for Beyond the Blast Doors, episode number 63. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.